I won a PQ this weekend. In Utah, it was the Spanish Fork PQ, and I was playing Han2 Data Vault. In this video, I'm going to share the 4 evolutions my list went through and the story behind it. I will go through my matchups and any notable moments or learnings throughout the event, and there are definitely a few crazy things that happened. 6 of the top 8 were all friends or on the team, and 3 of us were playing Han2 Data Vault with slight variations. And my friend Nick and I got to play the mirror match in the finals. It was an incredible day. It was great. I didn't sleep very well last night because I think the adrenaline was still just coursing through my body. All right, so before I go through all the matchups, let's go through the variations on my deck lists. Okay, so first of all, I got to give credit to Crispy and CoDameron, and also Curtis from he got top 8 he got top 4 in the Denver sectional, and he's a local here too. He's on the team, and so this all started. This isn't the list that I took this weekend. Okay, let me clarify really quick. This is not the list I took this weekend, but we're gonna go through the 4 evolutions really quick. Okay. But this is the list I started with because when set 4 happened, I started with just Sabine. I played Sabine for about a week. Not very long, I know. But then I went right into Yoda Data Vault. And I'm kind of a Ray player. I do enjoy playing Ray Tarkentown a lot. But since DJ got banned, I thought to myself, well, if I can get to a 6 deploy leader, then I can get to a 7 deploy leader. So I was originally on Yoda Data Vault for a couple of weeks, and it was actually performing really well for me. But we had a local showdown where a lot of the players who were in this top 8 and in the top 16 of this PQ were at this showdown. And in like round 3 or something, Curtis just absolutely spanked me with this deck. It might have not been exactly this list, but it was at least extremely close. And I don't know if I have ever received that much pleasure from a loss in my life, as crazy as that may sound. But yeah, he just crushed me. I'm pretty sure 2-0. I don't even think I took a game on him. Maybe I did, but I'm a big fan of Crate Dragon, and I even bought Crate Dragons when they were super expensive, like the weekend they came out, and then I played them like twice since then, because it turned out the deck they were most viable in was hard control, and I didn't really want to play hard control, but I really wanted to play Crate Dragon, and so my Crate Dragons just stayed in the collection forever. And when I saw what Curtis was doing to me with this deck, it all looked like really cool, fun stuff too. And then he also got to play Crate Dragons. And I just thought, I think I have to make this deck. I have to play this deck. And I asked him where he got it. He just said he took the list from Crispy, who got day 2 at this, I think at Richmond. And you know, I normally go to the SWU competitive hub, go to Melee, look at the lists of the major events, and you know, go past the top 8, and I look to see the top performing decks of any base leader combination and just see what people are doing, because I think that stuff's really cool. And I hadn't done that yet for this event, but Curtis sent me here and I took the list. I think did I play exactly this? Let's go to the next evolution. Nope, we didn't. We did not go to the No Mon Mothma list yet. But yeah, I think I took this exact list right here to a showdown just a few days later, and I got into the finals with my friend Nick yet again. But Nick took also basically the same deck, but with just slight variations tailored to Anakin being the leader instead. and he got me. He got me in that one. And so he won that showdown. But man, I had just been having so much fun with this deck. And I'm going to explain some of the combos too if you're not familiar with it. But also, I'll leave a link to CoDameron's video because he has a very long video talking about, and he goes through tons of lists, and not even just lists, but also just card choices that he thinks are worth looking into. And, you know, I looked into some of those and it paid off apparently. So here we go. So this was the initial list we started on. And then some of the team was talking about, like, what about, you know, no Mon Mothmas? And also after watching the CoDameron video, I was looking into, you know, Gorilla Attack Pods and Adelphi Patrol Wings. And this is when Fell the Dragon came in. And I have to say, Fell the Dragon is absolutely critical in this deck. I absolutely think you must be playing 3 of it in this deck. You don't care that you have to pay 6 for it. It is just such an insane insurance card against Crate Dragon in the mirror or just big capital ships. And also, there's plenty of times, even like against Sabine, where you can get the board and maybe you have like a CoDameron, a spaceship, and one other a small ground guy, and your opponent's board is cleared. And then whenever they just like top deck another wrecker on you, you still have the board. They maybe killed your little guy with wrecker, and then you can just fell the wrecker, hit the base for like 9 or 13 damage, and then do it again next turn, and you won the game. So yeah, Fell the Dragon's absolutely insane. But when I was going through this list and I wasn't playing Mon Mothma, this is when I think the initial list didn't have Battlefield Marines in it, and it had Sundari Peacekeeper. I did not really like Sundari Peacekeeper. Sundari Peacekeeper is great for like indirect damage decks, and you know, it's fine against Sabine as well. But the main problem with it, the reason why I really don't like it, is because with Han Solo Worth the Risk, you are trying to cheat like as much as you can. You want Han Solo to be cheating units in for you as much as you can. And of all of the units in the deck, the Sundari Peacekeeper is the worst unit to cheat in. It becomes a 1/3, and like everything in the game just kills that, trades up into that for free. I just really did not like it. It was not great. So that was the first thing that came out. Basically, immediately got swapped for 3 Battlefield Marines. And in this list, this is when Wreckers came in too, right? Yep. So in this list, almost everything was a 3 of. But then when we moved to the No Mon Mothma, I started experimenting with some 2 ofs. And the Gorilla Attack Pods. We got Anakin Skywalkers in here, and that's literally just because they are supposed to be extra copies of Poe. Because it turns out a 4-cost 6/4 is very insane. It's just so strong. It's crazy. And you're playing a 60-card deck, so you probably want more of those in there. Even though Poe is better. Poe's definitely better. I just view Anakin Skywalker as extra copies of Poe that you can cheat in. And yeah, it's been great. So we went in here and we put some Radises in the side. Radises is a pretty cool card, very aggressive. I probably wouldn't cite it in against villainy decks because of no glory only results, unless you're planning to exclusively use it in tandem with timely intervention. So when you're behind, you can use it to crash into an Avenger and then also kill something on the ground, but that's pretty niche. But this is also when we started putting in triple bombing run in the side because of Vader Yellow. Not only had Vader Yellow been seeing success in PQs and just doing well, even if in the gigantic events it wasn't in the top 8, it was still performing really well. And locally, it had been gaining the attention of quite a few players. And so we just thought we got to put 3 bombing run in the side now. That's just what we have to do. So anyways, I wasn't on the No Mon Mothma for very long because, man, Mon Mothma she enables so many cool things. And I'll talk about some of those combos in a little bit too. And also, I mean, don't forget, check out the CoDameron video. So then, this is where we evolve the list a little bit. We try to get the Mon Mothmas back in. And what do we take out? Yeah, we take out we took out the Adelphis and the Gorilla Attack pods to increase some numbers elsewhere. I didn't really feel like I wanted the 3 Crate Dragon. Crate Dragon is awesome, but also doesn't do anything against Vader Pilot, and you never get to play it against Sabine and Quinlan, and those are actually a decent amount of your matchups. So yep, trimmed down on that a little bit. This is where I also, in this list before the No Mon Mothma, we didn't have Bright Hope, and that's because Mon Mothma, Bright Hope, and also honestly Rebellious Hammerhead down here, they're kind of a package. They're kind of a package deal, and they're probably some of the strongest things this deck can do. So anyways, we get back to Mon Mothma, and we are only playing 2 Bright Hopes then. And we put the Echo-based defenders in because, there was a lot of Sabines. We still got 2 Anakin Skywalkers here. This is really close to what I was actually playing on the weekend. I just had this side isn't a real side over here. This was just still cards we were trying out. Obviously, because you can also see there's more than 10 cards in the sideboard. But finally, okay, I'll stop delaying it any further. This is the exact list that I took this weekend, and man, it has been a blast. It has been an absolute blast. This has been the funnest deck I've played in this game so far. So cool. So what I started doing is instead of having 3 System Shocks in the main and 1 Confiscate in the side, I decided to convert 1 into 1 Confiscate in the main because also the Vader pilots, and because I just thought, you can't draw Confiscate if it's not in your deck. And so, yeah, we got that 1 of in there. The only 1 of, in my opinion, in the deck, even though there's a 1 of Anakin Skywalker over here, I really view Anakin Skywalker as an additional pose. So it's kind of like I'm playing 4 pose. I did trim 1 Echo-based defender and put it into the side because I just couldn't fit everything. Also, in the previous list, you'll see we didn't have Reinforcement Walkers, but I just love that card so much. And also, sometimes when you're doing okay, you haven't fully stabilized against some aggro stuff, even like Vader Pilot, if on the 7 resource you can slam down a Reinforcement Walker, you can just not die. I just like it. So I just like it too much. So we got the 2 walkers back in, and we're down to just 1 Anakin Skywalker, and everything else kind of looking pretty much the same. The sideboard, we had to get the 3rd crate in there. I did put a choose sides in the side before. The originalist had 2 choose sides, and it actually performed really well for me. Choose sides had been really great, especially into Kira. But I really feel like it's kind of like the 4th Fell the Dragon, in my opinion, because you really do want 3 Fell the Dragons. And choose sides is kind of just like an additional one against those gigantic decks, because it's a little bit harder to navigate because you have to play a cheap unit that you can give to your opponent as well sometimes if your opponent's ahead. I really love the 3 Chewbacca's just to play on the ground against Kira. Also, put them on Bright Hopes, specifically Bright Hopes. If you're playing against a deck that plays Traitorous, you don't put Chewbacca on your blue leaders or your red 5s. You put them on your Bright Hopes so they can't get Traitorous. And that has been very strong. And and then just the other Confiscate in the side. My favorite thing about this deck is it feels like a toolbox. And it's very flexible. You can really, when you sit down across from your opponent, I honestly feel like I have a great chance into like anything. Everything feels winnable. And I haven't sat across from a deck yet and been like, oh boy, we got to figure this out. This is going to be rough. Like I literally haven't had that thought yet. Playing this deck against anything. I sit down across from them, and even like against the Vader pilots, for example, I figure out, I'm like, okay, I know what my game plan is. I gotta get my spaceships. I gotta get them early. I gotta trade into their non-tokens as often and as frequent as possible. We gotta get some Fell the Dragons for when they drop the gigantic clone squadrons. If we get to see Confiscate, we're holding that for Vader, and we're gonna get our home ones, and then we're just gonna loop home one into Bright Hope until we can reinforcement Walker and win the game. Like, you have winning game plans into like everything, I feel like. And man, it just felt so comfortable. It was absolutely wild. And man, Red 5, an absolute MVP. Red 5 is probably one of the best cards in Jump to Lightspeed. Like, no joke. I mean, especially in the mirror match. And this deck might be gaining some popularity. So, man, Red 5 is just going to be really strong in those matchups. And I think that Adelphi Patrol Wing will probably become a really important card in the mirror too, because you can deploy it on 4 resources as a 4/4, and then it can get rid of your opponent's Red 5 if they got to play that on 3. And it's, man, because Red 5 is really important. Man, the card is crazy. It's so good. General Riken is really good too, just really awkward for a lot of things. There's multiple times in this event where Riken just got to not even cheated out, just play him as a 5/7 Sentinel, just made my opponent not able to race me suddenly. Like, if we were in a racing situation, then it's like 5/7 Sentinel, and then they just couldn't race me anymore. They'd have to like trade their board into it or do just too slow of things. Really crazy. Also completely blocks up the big Han unit because it can't trade into it. Even in Quinlan, like, unless Quinlan was deployed, Quinlan would have to be deployed to get over this. But if you get to kill Quinlan first, you can play Riken down as a 5/7. And in my top 4 match, that actually came up. Wow. Oh, man. Seriously, this was such a fun deck. Mace Windu even provides lethal opportunities. Really great against Quinlan. Really great against the small Kira Sentinels. Whenever their Vader brings out a Death Trooper, man, cheating out Blue Leader on 4 resources to be able, and ambushing it into a Sabine, absolutely insane. What else do we got here? Obviously, we all know about cheating out the Poe pilot into a 3-cost 4/5 spaceship on turn 1, basically. Or even just against Power of the Darkside Avenger decks, just using it to make 2 units so that it's much harder for their single target removal to do anything, and it allows you to then eventually play a Crate Dragon safely so that they can't Power the Darkside it. Ugh, so many cool things that this deck can do. And now let's talk about possibly the coolest thing, and the greediest thing, and possibly my favorite thing outside of Crate Dragon in this deck, and that is Mon Mothma. Mon Mothma is so cool. Against Quinlan isn't, I don't feel like Quinlan is fast enough that playing Mon Mothma turn 1 is a bad play. And in fact, in top 4 against Christine's Quinlan, both games started with me playing Mon Mothma and her playing Green Squadron 8-Wing in space, and they just don't want to use their Tarkin Town on Mon Mothma, and rightly so. It would seem weird to do that, right? But I don't think I did it both games, but at least one of them, I got to immediately then on turn 2 do the Bright Hope combo where I cheat out Bright Hope for 3 resources, and then Bright Hope returns Mon Mothma to my hand and draws me an additional card. And then at that moment, you have so much discard insulation in your hand that if Quinlan force throws you, you likely have one of your System Shocks or Confiscates or Timely Interventions to discard instead, and then only does 1 damage. Or worst case scenario, you just keep the Mon Mothma in your hand, and then the force throw will only do 2 damage, and you also got to draw a card, and then you also have a 2/4 spaceship, and you can put the Poe pilot on it, or or if you're sighted, you can put Chewbacca on it. Mon Mothma is great. And then the other combo, the other piece, I should say, of the combo is Rebellious Hammerhead, which, if you're not familiar, it's this 6-cost 5/7 spaceship down here that says, when played, you may deal damage to a unit equal to the number of cards in your hand. And when you play a Mon Mothma into a Bright Hope, and then you get 2 cards back into your hand, a lot of the times, this can lead to Rebellious Hammerhead being able to just one-shot your opponent's leader to play. Like, not in this tournament, but like there's been multiple times where my opponent has like a Village Protectors out and deploys their Ray, and then I just play Rebellious Hammerhead and do 6 damage to Ray. It is absolutely crazy. But also, it's just doing that Mon Mothma Bright Hope combo that allows Rebellious Hammerhead to kill Kira on her flip. I mean, obviously, you'd have to be at least at 5 resources as well, so that you're cheating with Han to do it, but still kills a Kira flip. So, the Rebellious Hammerhead with Bright Hope and Mon Mothma, so cool. Also, in the Quinlan matchup, Rebellious Hammerhead is insane. There's many times where like you play a couple ground units early, whether Quinlan goes space or ground, your ground units can either damage the ground units or trade into them. And if they only damage them, then you'll be able to play a Rebellious Hammerhead in space, finish off the ground unit, and then you have a 5/5 in space. And then now they're Millennium Falcons, and any space they play doesn't really do anything. And there was one of my games against Christine where I was able to do back-to-back Rebellious Hammerheads. One that finished off a ground unit and that my ground unit traded into, and then the very next turn I didn't resource so that I could play another Rebellious Hammerhead from my hand, and because she played a red 5, and then I was able to deal 4 to the red 5, and then I had 2 5/5 spaceships, and we both had like 10 damage on our base, and like Quinlan can't deal with that big of spaceships that fast or erase them very effectively, and it's pretty crazy. So wow, I am rambling. This is going so long. Hopefully some of this is some helpful information for you. But that's like the coolest stuff about this deck. You can also use General Riken to pump up the Echo-based defenders to be 5/4s that trade favorably into tons of aggro stuff, and pump up Bright Hopes. But let's get into a little bit of the tournament report. Is that cool with you guys? Is that cool if we go into a little bit of a tournament report here? All right. The day started out with me playing against a blue Ray. And we got a draw. It was extremely unfortunate. Not what I wanted. And actually, it was completely within my control to not even lose game 2. But for some reason, I don't know why, but going into game 2, because I won game 1, going into game 2, and it's crazy too, because I'm a Ray player. I play Ray. I know what the consequences are if you don't play appropriately into Ray. And for some reason, I spent my first couple turns playing spaceships. I don't know why. You need to play units in the ground against Ray, because otherwise they're going to get out of hand. I'm not a blue deck. I have Fell the Dragon in here, but I'm not a blue deck. I need to have units in the ground to help handle the restore units in the ground. I'm not going to be able to race that effectively. Like, this is not that aggro of a deck. And unfortunately, yeah, I could have helped to hurry game 1 and 2 along, but I was being chiller and more patient, and it's okay. But yeah, and game 3 ended with, we're like on the 7 resources or something, and my opponent has no units on the ground. I have 4 units in the ground, and they started the turn with initiative and used Fell the Dragon on my Poe, and then I hit the rest of my units to the base. They had like 27 whatever damage out of 30 on their base, and nothing else to do that turn. But that was just that was the end of our action phases. And so we got a draw. And it was unfortunate, but it's okay. It wasn't a loss, technically. But it is unfortunate that, given 15 more seconds, if I would have just maybe hurried up a little bit earlier, maybe if my opponent would have a little bit earlier in the, game 1 or 2, wouldn't have been a draw. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And round 2, I played against a friend playing yellow Dooku. I think I had to reverse sweep this. I think they killed me game 1, if I'm not mistaken. And I had to be really careful to not let my round 1 draw tilt me, because I think it was slightly tilting me a little bit. But I reoriented myself, and we moved along. This game was pretty crazy. There was a moment where I had a home 1 in space and a walker in the ground, and my friend got to double overwhelming barrage to kill everything. But fortunately, it worked out. We got it 2-1. Those big 6-6 spaceships are insane. You definitely got to be planning for them, and it's not an easy matchup at all. Like my other friends who were on Han2 Data Vault on this day, they each lost to a Dooku yellow in Swiss. So it was pretty crazy. After that match was 2-1, by the way. Then round 3, playing against Kira Data Vault. This was a 2-0 for me. 2 rounds later, I ended up playing against my friend Ian, who was also on Kira Data Vault. So I can't remember which of the stories or which of the memories I have are from one of those matches or the other. But I think in the first one, man, things were just lining up really well for me. I don't think my opponent ramped in either game, and I just had good cards. The Kira, I was able to handle the Kira flip both times really easy, probably with blue leaders. And there was also in this first Kira match, I think it was in game 2. Yeah, after game 1 into game 2, I had a really aggressive start, and I had a moment where I think I had like 5 units in the ground. And this one, my opponent did ramp. My opponent did ramp 1 ahead of me. They got to 8 resources. And on the 8 resources, they really needed Super Laser Blast. And they did not have exactly Super Laser Blast on that turn. They were able to do something to kill like 1 or 2 of my units, but then I was able to put a Chewbacca on my blue leader that was on the ground. And then it just, at that point, it didn't even matter if they drew Super Laser Blast the next turn, because it was too far gone on that one. But Kira feels like a really good matchup for this deck. 4th round after this, we played against Sabine ECL, and this one was also a 2-0 for me. Sabine also feels pretty fine. I'd probably say Kira feels maybe slightly easier than Sabine for this, but Sabine also just doesn't feel bad at all. Like I said, like every matchup feels like fine, like feels like you have tools to handle it. This toolbox deck, it has the stuff. So in this match, it was unfortunate. It was this Sabine match though was unfortunately the worst part of card games happened to my opponent, essentially, because I got the initiative. And game 1 started with me playing a Battlefield Marine into their Sabine and trading into it. And then turn 2, them playing an A-Wing and me ambushing a blue leader into it. And then on the Sabine flip, they flip Sabine. I play an Echo-based defender in front of it. Then they put a Darksaber on Sabine. And then I play System Shock on the Sabine, defeating the Darksaber and dealing 1 damage to Sabine. Like, it was just so... It was... That's like the most perfect thing you could ever have happen to you, like against a Sabine. So that match was like, I don't even know if I got to double-digit damage on my base. Like that match was so fast, it was crazy. And then in game 2, my opponent didn't get a turn 1 play. So yeah, that was a pretty rough moment for him. And surprisingly, that game was much more competitive. He got me to, I think, 24 damage on the base. But yeah, it was, yeah, unfortunate for them. 2-0 for me. And then, like I said, in round 5, I'm playing against Ian Johnson, my friend, playing CoDameron Data Vault. And this one was also a 2-0 for me. And this one, I don't know how to explain it, but the cards just lined up well for me. Again, he did get to ramp, but I had the Cham when he had the ramp. There was moments where he shielded a devastating gunship in space, and then I was able to timely intervention a hammerhead into it so that my game plan was to make it so their overwhelming barrages were dead. I just don't want them to be able to overwhelming barrage me. And so he did that, and then I just timely intervention a hammerhead into it. The hammerhead on play popped the shield off, and then my 5/7 hit into his 5/5 and stayed alive. And I don't know if it was in the same game, but we played 2 games. But over the course of those games, yeah, I got to timely intervention a rebellious hammerhead. I got to timely intervention a crate dragon over his reinforcement walker, and I also had fell the dragon for his avenger. So it was some rough stuff for Kira, unfortunately. And this is where I can't remember if this was this Kira match or the one before, but one of them was where at the start of the turn, I had 9 resources. I had 2 Cassians in the row, and I was thinking with the board and everything, and I was like, I think I resourced to 10 because worst case scenario, I might be able to just double Cassian smuggle for lethal. And that's exactly what was the play that turn. They had some answers for some stuff. I got to attack with a little bit. They had to claim initiative, and I had all 10 of my resources up, and I smuggled a Cassian, and then smuggle another Cassian. And yeah, Cassian. Love that guy. Very famous these days. Very famous. But yeah, that was a good one. And then we go into round 6. I'm playing against another Sabine ECL. This one was 2-1. Nothing too crazy really happened in here. They were moderately normal games. However, my opponent possibly had never played against my deck at all. Had no idea what to expect against my deck. And in game 1, I was able to do the blue leader cheat with Han Solo on his Sabine flip, and he just didn't expect it, and I even passed. So like we had a situation where I had all 4 of my resources up. I did every action I could, and he still had his 4 resources and his Sabine to flip, and he did his Sabine ping, and then I just passed, and then he sat there and thought for a minute. He's like, huh. I mean, you know, they're not a blue deck. They can't play takedown. He's like, I don't know what could happen. And then he's like, well, we're going to do it. And then he flipped Sabine, and then I got to blue leader ambush in and stay alive. And, you know, blue leader for 4 resources with a ground ambush is really good. You know? And then after that, we head into round 7. And I was against Christine and her Quinlan Tarkentown, and we just decided to have a draw there. And with that brought us into the top 8. And in the top 8, my first matchup was against Pilot Vader Yellow. I took this one 2-0. It definitely probably should have been 2-1 because I mean, but we're in Top Cut, so we get an extra, like, is it 20 minutes? Yeah, I think we get an extra 20 minutes. And so I was like, nah, it's okay. I'm going to try to grind this out. Game 1 was absolutely just perfect cards. Just literally perfect cards for me. I drew the 1 of Confiscate in my deck. Just literally got to start with space, killed every spaceship every turn for many turns. And then on the Vader flip, I was able to play an Echo-based Defender into a Mon Mothma, and just action churn for a while. And I had my 1 resource up, and he had only one action left of deploying Vader or not. And he sat there and thought for a second, and he flipped Vader onto a unit, and then I confiscated. And Johnny, so sorry, man. The card games just happened to you, unfortunately. Here, the force was too strong with me in that moment, I guess, because I had the one of when I needed it. It was, I mean, I had it from turn 1, so I kept it, obviously, but yeah, card games just happened to him, and I don't think that game was particularly close at all. And then game 2, it was looking really good for me as well initially. I also was having a good, strong space start, killing off a bunch of his units in space, getting some Bright Hopes out early to soak some damage, and I think I even like timely interventioned a red 5 into killing one of his non-token ships, and then the on attack killing another. And man, it was just another example of red 5 being insane. It was just going really well, but then suddenly the fear of confiscate was in him, because he deployed Vader on the ground and surprise strike me in the face from there. And then I just used my ground units to attack into Vader, and it left me with my Han leader as a 3-1 in the ground. That's it. And then I just had to keep playing in space, trying to take care of these things. And there was a moment where I believe on the 8 resource, I can't even remember how close I am to dying. I'm so close to dying. And I'm having to do this math, and I'm like, okay, I have to resource to 8 because I need to do the Han cheat to play home 1 from my hand so that I can pay 1 to bring out Bright Hope again. And then I can attack with my Han ground unit and heal 1. And I did that. He had some stuff. He was able to get through the Bright Hope and chip a little damage into base, and then also, you know, make some more tokens and play a couple more things. And he had the Mining Guild TIE Fighters to attack and draw another card. And then the very next turn after this, at that moment, I was like, I'm dead. This is too crazy. I had a Reinforcement Walker in my hand that I could play, but it wasn't going to save me how much damage the space was going to do to me. And I was like, oh, I'm dead. And then I top deck double home 1 right after that. So I literally just played a home 1. I have a home 1 still on the board. The home 1's going to be able to attack and kill one of the highest power spaceship and heal me too. But then his space arena is still going to kill me. And so I was like, wow, okay, well, I'll do that. And then I guess I'm just going to have to play my other home 1 over and just kill my own home 1 so that I can get out Bright Hope again as a Sentinel. And I literally played home 1 4 times into Bright Hope, because eventually, after doing that many times, there was a moment where he played a Boshek, and it let him draw a Waylay and something else. And he had to, we eventually got to a moment where he had to waylay the home 1 to my hand so that he could have less of his units die. But yeah, literally did it again. And I also had a System Shock in my hand that I kept. After playing a couple home 1s, I kept a System Shock in my hand because I was like, what if he puts another, like a Vader pilot or something? Oh, wait, no, he doesn't have red. But I was like, what if he puts a pilot? Because he did play some other pilots. I was like, if he puts a pilot on one of the 1 HP tokens or other spaceships, then I can kill it. And there was one of the turns when I played home 1 where I left the resource up. I passed a couple times, and he didn't do it. And then the very next turn, similar thing, play home 1 into Bright Hope. He's attacking it, and I heal 1 with my Han in the ground arena that's still sticking around. And then I was looking at the board state and how much damage was on my base, and it was the one time I probably could have passed once, but I didn't. I was like, I'm just gonna take the initiative here. I don't want to risk anything, because for multiple of these turns, he was literally a surprise strike away. If he had a surprise strike, he was gonna be able to kill me. But he didn't get the second or third surprise strike. And the one turn where I didn't pass, he played a Boshek onto one of his things while I had one open resource, and I was like, oh, dang it, I could have killed that. And yeah, eventually narrowly made it through there, was able to play a Walker and heal 3, and then eventually ended the game somehow with 19 damage on my base. But there was like 6 turns in a row where I was almost dead. In 2 of those turns, I started with 31 damage on my base. I absolutely can't believe I should have conceded that game and just went into a game 3. But drawing the top decking double home 1 and being able to be like, wow, this is a lot of damage I'm going to be able to tank, just gave me hope, and we saw it through. All right. Sorry for the long stories. Maybe you like this. Maybe you don't. I don't know. I'm having fun here, so hopefully you're having fun. We go into top 4. This was my goal. I really just wanted top 4 because of this super cool initiative token. It's so sweet. Yeah, check that thing out. It's got the hyperspace lights going up through it. It's so cool. That's what I wanted. I wanted top 4 to get that token. And I sit across from Christine. Yeah, she's a friend, and I was just like, this is all I wanted. And she's like, yeah, hey, this is like the best I've ever done too. Both of us are like, this is the best we've ever done. So stoked we're here. And also we got a Carbonite box. The top 4 prizing was also getting a Carbonite box. So we got a Carbonite box here too. Very cool. And so we were already stoked. But going into this game, I'm playing against Quinlan Tarkentown here. Both games, she gives me the initiative. I play Mon Mothma. She plays a wing in space and pings it. And like I said before, Quinlan doesn't want to Tarkentown that Mon Mothma. It just doesn't make sense. But I know at the very least in game 2, I got to do the Bright Hope combo, played Bright Hope, return Mon Mothma to the hand, get a million cards, and I can't remember exactly how game 1 went, but it didn't seem too bad for me. But I think I got to play a Poe on the 5 resource. I had like a pretty, my board state was fine, and I got to just play a Poe out, and she just needed to trade her stuff into Poe because she didn't want Poe to be able to one-shot Quinlan. But it was a difficult situation for her. But in game 2 was crazy. So like I said, same start, but I got the Bright Hope for the turn 2. And then eventually we get to the 6 resource turn. I traded my board into her Quinlan. I think this might have been the game that I might have played a Poe in the ground as well, but she killed my Poe. I finished her Quinlan off. And then I have, I think, just Han Leader with a couple HP, and I have my Bright Hope in space. Okay, my Bright Hope that's just a 2/4 still. And what happened here was, I think what happened is she attacked her A-wing into the Bright Hope to put it to 5 damage on it. So then, am I mistaken now? No, I had 2 Bright Hopes because she killed the first one. But then I had a second Bright Hope in my hand, and I had a Poe pilot in hand. And so we're on the 6th resource, and my Han Leader is still alive. So for the 6 resources, I get to cheat out a Bright Hope as another 2/4. And then she hits her A-wing into my Bright Hope, because I think she also has a readied Millennium Falcon as well at this point. She also has an Ahsoka in the ground arena. So she has A-wing hit into the Bright Hope. The Bright Hope now is 1 HP left. But I have 3 more resources left, and because Han is deployed, I can cheat again. So I cheat out Poe Pilot and equip the Poe Pilot to the Bright Hope, and now it has 4 HP because the Poe Pilot gives you 3 and there was 1 remaining, so it's 4 HP, and I get to make the 2/2 space token, and now she just has a Millennium Falcon and a damaged A-wing in space, and now she would have to trade both of them to kill it. And even just attacking the Millennium Falcon in right now isn't going to do anything. So then she has to put a blaster on Ahsoka, hit me in the base for 5. And then after that, I'm not sure if I attack with Han or not, but I think I take the initiative. And then starting on the next turn, the first thing I do is I get to play a Wrecker from my hand that does 5 damage and just kills the 5/5 Ahsoka. And I've still got the Bright Hope in space, and we've got Han unit in the ground still, and I'm pretty sure what happens. Oh yeah, she plays Change of Heart. She plays Change of Heart to take my Bright Hope, and then hits me in the base for 10. Yeah, hits me in the base for 10. And I believe puts me into the mid-20s range, maybe 26. But because it's Change of Heart, I'm going to get it back. So then I get the initiative. And I get the Bright Hope back. And I think maybe my little X-Wing got to kill the A-Wing. But then I get the Bright Hope back. And then starting with initiative on the next turn, she has 7 resources up. And I have a General Riken in hand. And I'm thinking about what to do here. And I was like, you know what? The safest thing I can do is play General Riken, because he'll be a 5/7, and then a Han unit can't come down and just trade into my Wrecker for free and not die. And that was her play. That was her plan for the turn. So it just lined up so well. General Riken 5/7. She didn't have any other play other than that, and she couldn't get through the Bright Hope in space, and so it was over. It was over. And then the finals. I got to play against my friend Nick in the finals. We were both playing a very similar list. I'll bring up the top 8 lists as well really quick too. This is going to be a long video. Hopefully you're enjoying this. Hopefully you're listening to this on like 1.2 or 1.25 speed or something, because it's going to take a bit to get through this video. We're almost done though. And so anyways, basically in the finals, it was a long day. Me and my friend have already played against each other a bunch. Not in this event, but leading up to this, we played a little bit with the team the day before, and I don't know who suggested it. I don't know if it was a judge or if it was my friend, but he's like, "What if we each just concede a game and then we just play one game? We just play one-sided game." And I don't know. We thought that would be fine, save everybody a bunch of time. We're friends. There'll still be some competition. We both still want to win. And we sat down, we were smiling so big. We're like, wow. We were both like, no matter what happens right here, we're happy. One of us is going to get a day 1 buy at Galactics. And also, regardless, the prizes have been great. Super fun time. And so we're like, yeah, we do it. So, officially, we do have to take game actions to concede. So we had to draw, play a card, and then he conceded game 1. I conceded game 2. We played a game 3, and it was a good game. I actually feel like this mirror match is not miserable. I know a lot of people don't like playing mirror matches, but I feel like not too much stuff here is like a gigantic blowout. I don't feel like it's really just you're playing some good cards, you're trying to do some good things, you interact with your opponent a little bit here and there, you try to take a favorable trade here or there, you go to the base, and then you keep your Fell the Dragon insurance for if your opponent has the dragon. And the things just lined up for me really well. What's funny is it turns out both of us had Battlefield Marine and Red 5 in our opening hand, but he chose to cheat Red 5 out on turn 1. I think because he was planning for a specific different play for turn 2, but I had the same thing, so I couldn't cheat out Red 5 then, because his Red 5 would kill my Red 5, because I think that's actually what I wanted to do, but he did it first, so then I was like, I can't do that now. So I just played Battlefield Marine out, and I was like, I'll get to play Red 5 next turn, and then if he doesn't have a way to kill my Red 5, then my Red 5 will kill his Red 5 for free, because he cheated to play it. And so then, yeah, I think the next turn he had to just play like a Battlefield Marine, and we went to base with our Battlefield Marines for a little bit, but I got to kill his Red 5 for free. Eventually, because he's playing a little bit different. He's got the Guerrilla Attack Pods and the Adelphi Patrol Wings. But there was a certain turn where he did, I thought he would have done a trade. It wasn't, I don't think I remember it being the most favorable trade, but I thought it would have made sense. But he put my base to 15, and I thought like, interesting. And then I did some type of play, and then he played the Guerrilla Attack Pod, cheating it out with Han. And then I was like, oh shoot. That was when I thought like, I was like, oh, I did not plan for that. I might be in trouble. But fortunately, my Red 5, man, like I said, Red 5 MVP, I was able to, I think I ended up trading my Han leader into the Guerrilla Attack Pod, and then having Red 5 finish off the Guerrilla Attack Pod, and then I still had some units in the ground. And then the following turns after that, I think I think I had a Poe out or something, and then he got to do a Wrecker play, but then I had Fell the Dragon for Wrecker. And this was one of those moments where it's like similar to a Sabine match, where if you're able to have a Red 5 and then maybe like 1, ideally 2 ground units stay alive, and your opponent's board is mostly stabilized and they just play a Wrecker or just play a Poe, then that's when you don't even care that you're paying 6 for Fell the Dragon. You hit Fell the Dragon down, you get to do tons of damage to base, and your opponent needs very specific answers. He would have needed like specifically another Wrecker and Timely Intervention to recover from that, and it's a very specific 2-card combo you'd have to have. But yeah, and then I think the turn after that, he still had a good play. But then I was able to, I might have been able to play an Echo-based defender in the ground, and then I was able to put my Poe pilot onto the Red 5, and then I had enough damage that on the next turn he wasn't going to be able to deal with enough things in time, and so then I got the win. Oh, it was so crazy. Anyways, super fun, super fun. Let's get you Let's get you guys some top 8 lists. You want some? Really quick, if you don't mind, friends. I also have a couple fun pictures from the event. I'll just show these real quick. This is the top 8 here. Which direction do we go? Yeah, top 8 here. We got Nick, Jerry. This was Han1 green player. Me. This is Matt on Count Dooku. This is the person who got 2nd place at the Denver sectionals. He's insane. This is Christine on Quinlan. Here's Curtis on Han2 Data Vault as well. The one who you can blame him for me playing this deck, and then you can blame Crispy that he was playing this deck, and then you can blame Crispy the CoDameron, and then we're working on this deck. And then this was Johnny the Vader 4 yellow pilot, yeah. And then we got the top 4 here real quick. Unfortunate for Christine, they got the picture right as the eyes are closing. And then we got me over here with the champ. Epic. Super cool, super cool. All right, so now, thanks for enduring all this with me, friends. All right. Now we've got, do we go over here? Very good. All right. These are the lists from the top 8. There's 3 Han2 Data Vaults, and then we have a Han1 green, we have a Count Dooku yellow, we have a Sabine Wren, we have a Vader pilot yellow, and we have a Quinlan Tarkentown. So this one right here is Nick's list. You can see in Nick's list, he's got 2 Guerrilla Attack Pods, and he's got 3 Adelphi Patrol Wings. That is the main difference in our deck. Oh, he also has 2 heavies. He did the same ratio as me on the Timely, System Shock, and obviously you're playing 3 Timely. The System Shock and Confiscate, I should say. He did only have 2 Rebellious Hammerheads, but that's also because he was not playing Mon Mothma. So he's not playing Mon. He's playing these a little bit better mid-range units. I guess I'd say aggro mid-range units. And then the heavy here. For me personally, I feel like heavy does have his uses, mostly with timely intervention. But most of the time, I really do feel like just putting in more copies of Anakin Skywalker is better, because heavy only has raid 2 while you're coordinating, which makes him 6/4, whereas Anakin is always a 6/4 4 cost with this Han leader. So that's just my personal preference. And then you can see he had 2 Radices in the sideboard. Those came up for him. He said he enjoyed them. They were really good. He also went with the 1 choose sides. Surprisingly, he only went with the 2 bombing runs in the side. I mean, I didn't even get to play them. That was the other thing that was really sad against my Vader pilot matchup, is I didn't. When I played a Mon Mothma, I saw the 5 cards and there was a confiscate and a bombing run in it, and I was like, dang it. I was like, at least there's 2 more bombing runs somewhere in my deck. Maybe I'll get them. Never didn't get them. But there you go. Next we've got Curtis's list. He lost in top 8, but thank you, Curtis, so much for spanking me with this deck a few weeks ago. Curtis was pretty high on the Resolutes. He was playing these as anti-Vader pilot tech, and they came up great for him. He said there was even a time where he got to play Resolute on his Han flip against Vader pilot, and he even did some like passing to have his opponent get him up to 20 damage on his base so that he could get the Resolute out, and then the Resolute just wiped all of the tokens and then got a giant spaceship out. So he said, yeah, that was super great. He's got the Centauri Peacekeepers in here, it seems like, for probably the Quinlan and possibly Sabine matchups. He only had the Fell of the Dragons in the side, but man, they were so good. I loved them in the main. He was staying at 3 Mace Windu and 3 Crate in the main. I can understand it, but like I mentioned before, I am more so viewing the deck as a toolbox, and I want a couple more tools in here. You know, I drop 1 Crate, 1 Mace Windu to get 2 Wreckers in here, for example. Because even like I mentioned in my Quinlan top 4 match, just playing a Wrecker that's being able to do 5 and just, you know, kill the Ahsoka with the blaster on it. Great. Granted, Mace Windu can do that too, but if I'm not able to pay 7 for Mace, then Mace just dies in that situation, which is a little bit more unfortunate. But yeah, pretty standard thing. You see he's also still got the Chewbacca's in the side too. He's got the Tantivs in here. You'll notice if you look back at some of my previous lists that I did have Tantivs in my side at some point as well too. They're totally fine. Curtis here really did not want to lose to the Vader Yellow matchup. He could have had bombing runs in the side, but he went with the Tantivs and then the main deck Resolutes as his tech against it. And he also is a Mon Mothma fan. You'll see he's got the triple Mon, the triple Bright Hope, and the triple Hammerhead. I dropped 1 Bright Hope, but you know, that's just some player preference there. Next, we've got Christine's top 4, Quinlan Tarkentown, and she's got a interesting addition in here with the hidden sharpshooters. She's got 2 of these in here. She said these had been performing really well into Sabine for her. She's been liking these a lot, so I can totally see that. Yeah, you know, Quinlan lets you do the 4 damage to Sabine, and then you get to kill Sabine and stay alive, which is totally great. I can understand that. She's got 1 land speeder in here. And then she's got 2 Spark of Rebellions in here, 2 Daring Raids, and she's got the 2 Little Annies in here, just as ways to do an early force throw. And in game 1 against her in top 8, on the 4 resource, I cheated to play a Anakin out, I think, and it might have been a Poe. Either way, it's a 6/4 that was damaged, and I knew she had a red 5 in space. But I was just I knew I was going to be able to push damage on her faster. But then she played an Anakin, and then I only had 2 cost things in my hand. Fortunately, I waited to play my Anakin until she attacked with red 5 earlier that turn. So my Anakin wasn't going to die immediately, but I had to discard a Sabine, and it did 2 damage to my already damaged Anakin. And then the next turn, I think I just hit the base. And then she just traded Anakin into it because she already used Tarkin Town at that point. Otherwise, she would have used Tarkin Town. But yep, nothing too crazy in here. She has the bamboozles in the side. She's got the one tech, one Fennec Shand, a disabling Fang fighter in here. I assume for the Sabines, even though also got the bamboozles for the Sabines too, and the pilots, and then the change of heart. Yeah. The change of heart is more versatile, and I can understand why she has it in there, because you can use it to like take a Sabine's Poe or Wrecker and suddenly win. So I can understand why it wasn't a commandeer. But man, if this was a commandeer in our top 4 match, we definitely would have had a game 3. We absolutely would have had a game 3, because she would have. Oh wait, I'm mistaken. Commandeer can only take things that are not piloted, but who knows? She could have taken it before I put the Poe pilot on it, though. You know what I mean? And then the Bright Hope goes back to my hand and just slows me down so much and speeds her up. So who knows? But the change of heart can, like I said, can get the ground units. Yeah, and I saw her navigate some games earlier today with the Guerrilla Soldiers too. Man, that card is so good. All right, next we've got Rocky Roads, Han1, Echo Base, and he was in top 4 as well. He lost to Nick in top 4. It's looking moderately normal. You got the Cad Bane out of aspect for the Ewing reinforcements. You got the ramp. Only 2 surprise strikes in the main. They've got some confiscates in the side for the pilots and the dark sabers, of course. Interesting. Kira only making it into the side here. They did have a decent amount of some 7 drops here. Obviously the Chewbacca pilot and all the Falcons to try to do the Han cheese for the turn 1, turn 2. But yeah, I don't know. They got the R2s in here. I probably would have liked to have the Kiras in here, maybe over the R2s. But that's just me. That's just because of how many times people have played Kira against me before I got to get initiative, and then they just brick my turn 4 and you lose the game. Like Kira solos some people sometimes. It's crazy. But yeah, three wheelies in the main, and I like that they've got the 7 drops out of aspect in the side for just to splash in whatever matchup they think is works out for them. But yeah, good list here. Only 2 blasters. Only 2 blasters in the main. Yeah, cool deck. Next, we've got Jerry's top 8 Sabine list. Jerry, he's an awesome gamer. Really, he's done some wild things. He's done well in some events playing a resupply version of this. He got to play in day 2 at Denver with a resupply ECL Sabine list. He's a wild gamer. But yeah, he's got a Fang fighter in the main. Triple Rebel Assault makes sense. He's got 2 timelies. I can get that. And, mostly looks very, very standard. Got a Heroic Sacrifice on the side. He's got the bombing runs for the Vaders as well. We were all like, yeah, we got to get some bombing runs in the side for the Vaders. And so, yeah, he's got some in the side too. He's got some Chams for the ramp decks. Looks like some Sindaris for the mirror and aggro stuff, and also some Bright Hopes for the Vader pilots. Yep, and 1 Heroic Sack in the main. Yeah. Looks good. And the Freedom Fighters back in the main too, to help against the Sentinels, and anything that Kira wants to shield early on too. Village Protectors, everybody's nightmare. I love the Village Protectors though, okay? And then we've got Matt's top 8 Count Dooku. Just a reminder, this is the finalist at the Denver sectional, who literally, I mean, some of you might not know this because I don't know. He's not online. He doesn't interact on the social medias or anything, but he literally picked up Django 2 days before that event. He's a diehard Cad Bane fan. He played Cad Bane for like all of set 2 and 3 on ECL and on Tarkin Town, and just all the variations, doing everything he can to make that work. Insane gamer, super talented gamer. And eventually Django was just so crazy. He just, like, that week was like, I just don't think I can do it. And he's like, I'm going to try Django out. And then that Wednesday, he had a friend come over. They busted out a ton of games, and he was just like, yeah, I just guess I'm going to play Django. And boom, day one went 7-0. And then the next day, top 8, all the way to the finals with Django. This guy is a gamer. He finds things in lists that some people haven't considered yet. But wow, I haven't even seen this list yet. This is a live reaction for me. He's got the bamboozle in the main. That's amazing. He's got the bamboozle in the main. 2 confiscates in the main. He's got waylays in the main. Very cool. And he has said triple change of heart, absolute must in this deck. I think I remember one of my friends saying, yeah, I think he beat Curtis in Swiss, and in one game saw all 3 change of hearts, because it's so crazy with Count Dooku, because on the 6th resource you can just take their thing, attack with it, and then you can use Count Dooku's effect to just destroy it, exploit it to play a 2-cost separatist, and you just plan around those, and yeah, really cool. I actually really love he's got a 1 of invisible hand in here. The big invisible hand, I should say. Not the swarming with vultures, obviously 3 of. Let's get those in there. Yeah, very interesting. Triple droid deployment, but only 1 Kijimi patrollers. He's got 3 of the B1 securities, and he's got 2 bombers up here. The bombers, you'll notice, are out of aspect. And he said there's been multiple times where he's been able to swing into base for 6 and it pulls out a bomber, so he swings for 8. And a lot of the times that was enough of a difference that he has lethal on next action, and it just takes him out. The other thing that's very spicy here, check this out. 2 strike trues in here. Yeah, it turns out if you get to play a big 6/6 on turn 2 or turn 3, then when the Sabines or the Quinlins or even the Han2s are playing their Poe on the 5 resource, you're just like, oh yeah, we'll just play strike true and kill your Poe, and then also still play some other stuff. He said, yeah, strike true has been performing really great for him. In the side, he's got a turbo laser salvo. He's got the 2 Artequins assault cruisers for the home ones that have been popping up into the meta. He's got the patrolling AATs, I assume, for the Sabines and even possibly the Quinlins. And then he's got 2 look the other ways. He really enjoys this card. It's a 0-cost event that says exhaust a unit unless its controller pays 2 resources. And sometimes your opponent is out of resources and they don't get to attack with their unit. You just play it and they can't do it, or it bricks their turn if they want to attack. You start with the initiative, they have a CoDameron there, and you're in a racing situation, and you just hit that. And if they don't want to lose 2 resources that turn, they have to exhaust it. But they're likely going to attack, but then that just puts their tempo behind. They only get to play 3 resources that turn. Pretty good. I think the rest of this mostly looks like normal Dooku things. Looks like no resupply in here, just going with the super laser techs, because obviously you can still exploit the super laser techs. He's got the elite P38s in here as well, and you'll notice this is one thing he's been talking to me about a lot, even back at Denver, is how much he enjoys Darth Vader in the yellow Dooku deck, because there's just so much stuff you can get, so much cool stuff you can get, very valuable. Even getting out the guys that make tokens, if you need to. Yeah, just lots of great choices. I love that he's got 1 bamboozle in the main. That's so funny. All right. And then last we've got Johnny's Victor Squadron Leader, Darth Vader on the Mos Eisley base. Yeah, he's got triple surprise strike in there, but he only got to see 1 in game 2 against me. But yeah, you'll see it's very aggro. Lots of all the tiny ships, and then just the best events. Waylay, Overwhelming Barrage, No Good to Me Dead, and Surprise Strike. This is such a clean list. It's like almost all 3 ofs, except got 1 Mercenary Gunship, 2 Mandalorian, 2 Boshek. Yeah, that's really clean. Yep, got the side. The Dorian gunships came in against me. He might have taken out a couple of his chumps in game 2 to bring the Dorian in, just because maybe they were dying too easily to my ambush guys. And then I think he did also bring in a commandeer. I think he commandeered me once, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this list looks very fast. It looks very good, and obviously got into top 8 top 8 very well. Very cool, man. Thanks everybody so much for coming and hanging out, checking out this video. If you didn't get my list yet, if you forgot to screenshot earlier, here's your screenshot opportunity again. I'm really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Also, I just want to say sorry for not having a video out for over a month. It's been quite some time. I've been really busy, not even just playing this deck, practicing for my PQs, but I've got a lot of housework I got to do, lots of yard work I got to do, and it just takes up a lot of my free time. I don't know how all the talented gamers out there are getting in all the games that they get in, but props to you all. I mean, I also have other interests as well too that I try to squeeze in time for, but I appreciate you all being here. If you could get me to 1,000 subscribers, that would be amazing. We're almost there. We're at like 900 something. We've been there for a while. If I posted at least once a week, we would be there. We'd certainly be there already, but I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks again to the whole team, all the Utah friends, everybody coming out and playing. It's super fun. I can't believe we got it. We got it. The champ mat here. Thrawn looking through here. The initiative token here. The carbonite box. Oh, sorry. I'm talking away from the the mic. You probably can't hear. The carbonite box. We got a play set of black ones. We got all 4 of the home ones here too. Man, it was surreal. It was a great experience. And this deck, like I said, has been the funnest deck that I've played so far here in Star Wars Unlimited. And wow, I have a day 1 buy. Galactus is so crazy. Thanks for being here. See you next time.